Everyone would take a seat. I'd like to start the meeting. This is officially the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council meeting. We generally don't meet in July and August, but we are today because we had planned on a special meeting to decide what we would like to do in the community. So we wanted to get input to that. So the first part of the meeting is dedicated to finding out. The first part of this meeting is to review the projects that BCAC have completed to enhance the community, and we'll go over all those. And then the second part will be to talk about the tiny homes. So everybody be patient. We will get to as many people as we can. My name is Linda Locke, and I am president of the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council. And we're going to start talking about the kinds of activities that we've done. If you notice on your way out, there's banners hanging right on that wall, and they're a replica of the banners that we have the community made. I'll let Susan talk about that. And they're hanging on Berryessa Road. So Susan, you want to talk about that first? That was like our third project, wasn't it, or something? Yeah, so go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Susan, and I want to give you a little information and background on one of the projects that we did here for the community. So the BCAC, we, as a group, we got a grant from the city of San Jose, and then we decided the project would be to have wayfinding banners like you see in other little parts of San Jose, like Willow Glen, maybe the Almaden area in Cupertino. So we decided the best way to have it like inclusive of everybody in our community was to have the youth at the Berryessa schools participate in an art contest about different themes about what Berryessa meant to them as far as history, the culture, the activities, the outdoor activities. And so that came, we had a lot of applicants that turned in art drawings, and then we expanded it a bit to adults in the community. And then we got more drawings, and then we chose the best 12 out of all the drawings. And with those funds that we got from the city, you now see wayfinding banners that represent from the community what Berryessa means to us. So these are just one of the projects, you know, that helps to empower everybody to participate in this community and, you know, show off our pride of what we have and what makes us a great community to live in. And I'm going to give it to Ty here. We have plenty of other projects to tell you about.
Okay. Vishnu, could I ask you to push the button when I tell you to? Okay, so I'm secretary, board secretary, and Linda asked me to put together a presentation quickly to give you some background when we open up the input for you guys. Hit it. We have a charter. We have three just goals: two-way communication between local government, advocating for quality of life issues in our community, and taking positions on issues that may directly impact District 3. I imagine most of you are here interested in number 3. That'll come later. Hit it. To facilitate two-way communication, since 1993, we've had 10 meetings per year featuring updates from first responders like police department, sheriff's department, elected officials, state representatives, various unions. It should be school districts. Sorry, Roxanne, my apologies. Delivered dozens of candidate forums. We've hosted hundreds of presentations from organizations and individuals talking about matters of interest to our community. And we sponsored Coffee with Cops and things like that. One more, please. Number 2, where we've done a lot of work, is in the quality of life in our area. We've had ceremonies to recognize 30 citizens of the year. These are people in our community who we wanted to hold up as examples for everyone to look at and hold and recognize what they've accomplished. We've also acknowledged 21 ethnicities that make up our community and the contribution that they've made historically and culturally. We've sponsored dumpster days. We've sponsored creek cleanups. We've had 2 art box projects with turn utility boxes into art, 10 park benches installed out there, 11 wayfinding banners that Susan just shared with you, and restoration of the community center mural, which is out front of this building. We're very proud of that. Next slide, please. These are some overview. These are 2019 banners. This is an outtake from the restoration of the mural, one of the art boxes, the park benches. What we've got going right now is a new park pond peninsula project. It'll be out here on what used to be a pond, but we're going to try to make it a nice area, 1,000 feet. Excuse me. We're going to plan, coordinate, and install materials that will make a difference out there. We have a $5,000 Beautify San Jose grant to accomplish that. Get it? We are here at the community center. This used to be a pond. This is the peninsula that we're going to put trash cans, bike, and park benches there, some vegetation to make it a nice place for people to come to. Get it? We also have a plan in place to enhance the dog park extension. There's going to be a dog park installed on the grounds here. We have a $10,000 District 4 grant for seed money in that area. Get it, please? And this is what used to be the fire station. For those of you who remember, it's gone now. That's the plan to put the dog park there. And the city plans to put in a forest, city forest there. They have water. And so we're going to be working with them to ensure that that gets as much as we can in terms of benches, trash receptacles, bike rack, those kinds of trees, grasses, et cetera. So that's coming. And one more time, please. Number 3 item, take stand on issues. In 2010, we said we were successful in the redistricting effort for the state. We consolidated what had been 2 House districts, 4 assembly districts, and 2 Senate districts into 1 for this various area, which gave us more political voice. In 2017, we were successful in opposing the siting of the bridge housing on Noble Avenue. In 2021, we were unsuccessful in opposing the opportunity housing removal of single-family zoning protection in this area because the state overruled local authority. And so single-family zoning is now gone and you don't have those protections anymore. We were unsuccessful there. Did it? And this is where it comes. Here's where we come to you. Around the room, I put in some posters on the wall, things that I thought would typically be a concern for the community. Things like nuisance and non-criminal issues, random garbage, graffiti, and the like. Building community, knowing your neighbors, beautification projects, encouraging local businesses, crime against person and property, speeding, safety, disaster preparedness, civic engagement, how we can engage with boards and commissions, elected officials, community leaders. And over here, for some reason, I stuck basic infrastructure, street lights, parks and recreation, streets, those kinds of things. And what I would like to do now is give you a whole bunch of Post-it notes. What did I do with the Post-it notes? Oh, there they are. So that you can write down the things that you would like to see taken care of in our community, things that we should be doing, things that we should be aware of, things that we should, as a community association, might want to take care of. So we can capture them in writing. I also want to offer you the opportunity now for a few minutes to share anything you might have. I'd like you to hold anything having to do with tiny homes, since we have a specific time allotted for that. But if you have other things that have come to your attention, Sandra and Robert, for instance, they've been really, really amazing couple going around taking care of graffiti on their own. And so those are the kinds of projects that we might be able to do as a community association by reaching out to you and asking. So I have a microphone and I have another one. Okay, so does anyone have something they'd like to share with the community right now about what we should be doing? Yes, ma'am.
I used to live in Milpitas, but I moved to Berryessa. I feel if Berryessa has more playgrounds for each community for kids, because I think we have new families moving into this area with young kids, and they have to go to very far, not walking distance, to play on the playground, for example. So I felt San Jose can do better in this area.
Okay. Yeah, when you think about it, this park is great for walking, but
This
there's not
park is
but a
great, but
limited area over here for
yeah,
kids.
but over in other areas, it's
Right.
not walking distance to come here.
Alum Rock Park, you have to go very deep into the park before you get to the,
I'm
Kids
talking
will-
about not a big park. I'm
Yeah.
talking about just a small playground for kids in the neighborhood to hang out.
That's
Yeah.
a great suggestion. We never even thought about that. Very good. Anybody else have something? There are seats up here, and so I'm going to ask you, excuse me. I'm going to ask you to come and sit down at these seats so that we don't have talking in the back, because it really carries in here. So there's the first two rows on both sides have chairs there.
we have filled in front if you'd like to join us. We put out as many chairs as we had quick access to. We'd have to move a whole bunch of tables to add. So I apologize for any inconvenience to you. But please grab a chair and have a seat and be comfortable.
Yeah, this chair is right here, this whole row practically.
Right.
Yeah, when we put the park benches in, people were so excited about the park benches because all we had in the park was like 2 wooden benches spread out. And they wanted to sit on before we even got them set into the ground. They were so excited to see the benches. So it's those kinds of things that, you know, make people happy, that make us feel better. And the playground suggestion, we'd never even thought of. So we can look into that and see what we can do. So yes, sir.
The reason I'm giving him the
right.
microphone, the reason I'm giving him the microphone is because there are people who are watching us online, Zoom.
Okay,
And if you speak into the microphone, they can hear your question.
so just on that issue, if we were to get like little playground areas put in, is that something as a community, we do a fundraiser? Or is that something our community positions the city to pay for? I'm just curious on that.
I would say yes, in both instances. I mean, if the city sees cooperation and community involvement, they're that much more eager to step toward it with funding and the like. I mean, San Jose is, you know, 1 million people. It's got a lot of money, but many, many demands. And so a community that comes together and asks for something that's reasonable, like the dog park. We've been asking for a dog park for a long time. Fortunately, it looks like they've got it in the plan to accomplish. And so I think the answer to your question is yes. We both need to engage with that.
It's like the park benches. I'll see you in just a second. It's like the park benches. You know, we had the Boy Scouts and we had our own community putting it together. And suddenly the city said, oh, no, we could do a better job putting them in for you. So let's never know. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
that was a great augment. They did the concrete footers for all the park benches that we had purchased. Yes.
Wanted to say thank you for all your hard work and everything that you're doing, and thank you for adding the lake to your list, or the pond to your list of things, because it's pretty depressing how empty it is. And there used to be birds and ducks and they have nowhere to go now. So I appreciate you working on that. But I want to add cats. There is cats everywhere. And it's a problem. And then everyone's fighting over it because some people don't want to feed the cats. They want them to starve. Some people want to feed the cats. And then the other people are mad at them because you're feeding them and they're making more cats. And I wish there was some solution. All of the local veterinary places won't take cats if you trap them to try to bring them. They said they won't take them. So then we end up with just a bunch of cats and nothing to do to help them. So I know I don't have a solution, but maybe we could talk about some options of what we can do to solve.
You're spot on with that. There are a bunch of feral cats that live underneath these boxes out there. So thank you. That's something we'll have to look into.
Along the lines of the current condition of this pond, let's travel over to the Noble Library Pond. It is getting really disgusting. The city has not been taking care of it. It is my front yard. It reeks. The water level is continually so low that the ducks are just walking around in filthy muck, 6 to 8 inches deep, not even water. If there was some way that as a community, we could see that the upkeep of this is happening, that would be a good thing.
Thank you.
We have 6 kids and my wife takes the kids to a park like every day. And we keep asking ourselves why all the nice parks are in Willow Glen, Palo Alto, Sunnyvale, everywhere but here. So where's all the money going? How come they have nice parks? Let's fix this up. Clean the water.
What water? That's good. We could find out those
I will
things.
share this with you. The parks you've mentioned are in other cities. So Palo Alto, Sunnyvale, Milpitas, for instance, they all have a separate city budget. But Willow Glen is a city area, yes. So, but your point is well taken, and
But the
we
schools
have-
also count as parks here too. And so the school districts and the city work together, the soccer leagues and the baseball leagues and stuff. They all work together and use the school district property.
All right, so let me share one last thing with you, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Linda. We as a neighborhood organization have been in existence since 1973. And we would love to have this level of attendance at our meetings because it makes an impact when the police show up and when the fire department shows up and when members of city council or your assembly member or their representatives show up in front of an audience like this. It's much more empowering for us and much more engaging for them. So for $10 for each of you, you can join our little organization and get cookies and coffee once a month, 10 times a year, and add your wisdom, your interests to ours to make us more effective as an organization. So I would ask you to seriously consider taking one of the flyers and joining our little band of merry warriors, I guess. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Linda, and you want to introduce the next topic? Oh. Linda asked that I walk around one more time. So if you have a Post-it note or you want to put something about nuisance, non-criminal issues like random garbage, abandoned vehicles, graffiti, homeless people, noise, building community, knowing your neighbors, beautification projects, encouraging support for local businesses, local neighborhood associations like the BCAC, RONA, PNA, crime against person and property, safety, things like disaster preparedness for flood and fire, neighborhood watches, civic engagement, meeting with elected officials, community leaders like various Union School District, East Side Union School, High School District. And over here, if you have a Post-it note and you're interested in talking about things like basic infrastructure, street lights, parks and recreations, condition of streets. Here lately, they've been doing, at least from where I stand, a pretty good job resurfacing streets in our area. Big job. So if you want to put your Post-it notes up there sometime during the meeting or afterwards, that would be great.
This may be something that we have to deal with San Jose Police Department. I'm having bombs going off in my, just like in my backyard the other night. I almost had a heart attack at 1:30 in the morning. Trying to find these fireworks, click and take a picture and report your neighbor. I just want to find out why we can't have some sort of a drone system that here's a boom, go, you know, it's just terrible. And it happens many times a year. It happens around Chinese New Year. It happens our new, 4th of July, weeks before 4th of July, weeks after 4th of July. So I don't know where that goes, so. Anybody else have this?
I don't think you're alone.
Okay, so before you leave the room tonight, it'd be good to put those Post-it notes someplace so we have a good idea of where we want to go, and we're willing to give up parts of our summer so we can start on some of these projects, at least investigating what can be done and how we can do it. So, okay. All right, so the second part of this meeting is concern about the tiny homes. And we're here to express our concerns. So we're going to give everybody the maximum of 2 minutes, and we have a timer. And, and just be able to say what your concerns are, not that we just don't want this or we don't want that, but why are we concerned about this particular thing? So I'm going to turn it back over to Ty, and we'll get started on that second part. And we have until 20 after 8, and then the discussion will be done. If we're not done, we're done. Okay. Right, ready?
1, 2, 3. So I look out in the audience, and I know that this is going to be an issue of some importance to most of you here this evening. What I ask you to do is to share with me this. Would you be willing to organize this meeting such that the comments are directed to me, not to each other, not to anyone else in the room? This is a BCAC meeting. Address your comments, your frustrations, your anger, your suggestions, your recommendations up here to me. I'd like also to ask you to please keep it to like 2 minutes to start with. If we run out of time, we'll at least give the maximum opportunity for people to participate. If we have extra time and you want to loop back and add another 2 minutes to what you have to share, we would certainly be willing to and be very interested in hearing what you have to say. To what I'll follow up with what Linda suggested. Clearly, I would suspect that the bulk of you here are in opposition to the siting selection, A. B, if you have a recommendation on what we should be doing in order to address this, that would be great. If you just want to say what your frustrations have been, we will hear that as well. And Susan has the microphone. She has the talking stick. Susan, could you give it to Robert first, please? No. Yeah, we're on Noble now.
All right, hello, community. It was just a couple of weeks ago when in the neighborhood just walking, all of a sudden we saw posted these tiny homes are going to build right there at our Noble Park across from the elementary school. And just within just a handful of days, had a bunch of neighbors at my house. We were just having a little barbecue together and talked about it and said, hey, it's a few days, there's a meeting at City Hall, let's just go down. So we just made some quick signs, not in our backyard, basically not on Noble. And we formed we had about 15, 20 of us went down. My wife and I, Margie and Lee, Richard, we went around a few streets around our neighborhood, knocking on doors and handing out the information about this and trying to get as many people as we could just to go and join us down at City Hall. Richard, our neighbor, had 50 of these made. And we just did these on both sides, and we just brought these to City Hall. And I'll tell you from the very beginning with that, they were very rude to us. So just to know, they were rude. And as far as getting the information out, this was just myself and my wife and a handful of neighbors just having a little sidewalk time at our house, just barbecuing. And we talked, we have to do something. So we have said, hey, on your own, reach out, phone calls, texts, emails, Facebook, let everybody know you possibly can tell about this. And we're going to go to City Hall. So we had somewhere between 30 and 40 people that met there and try to make our presence known. And at that time, one of our neighbors just had a notebook and we all asked everybody here, put your email on, so at least get something started. And then from there, just everybody in your room, just contact everybody. So right now, my wife has it's like 30, 40 people on it, and that we're communicating with each other what we want to do in our immediate neighborhood. But as far as our contacts go, we don't really, oh, is that it? Oh, okay. Okay, carry on, yeah.
Hi, you guys. Yeah, so I'm Margie Wheeler, and so we do not know who started this petition. Say no to homeless tiny home. But thank you. And the last I checked, we had like 2,200 signatures. I would really like to, Richard, the kindness of his heart, got these ordered. It took 10 days to get them. But I'd really like to take up a collection to pay him back. They were $250. So what I want to find out from I'm supposed to be talking to you, sir. I'd like to find out how the BCAC can help us with our efforts to organize, to stay a centralized, we're too fragmented. Too much that, this email list, this person, that person. So can we use BCAC as a central, does that have to be voted on by the board or what happens?
1, 2, 3. I'm going to say that initially it would be a board decision. However, since we are on record opposing that site back in 2017, I think it'd be quite quick for us to make whatever we can, make it available through our website as a mechanism for communicating. We're trying to bridge out to other neighborhood associations such as PNA, what's called the Penitentia Neighborhood Association, RONA, River Oaks Neighborhood Association. They're a little remote in terms of distance. I don't know that they're going to be interested, but there are a number of parties that we're trying to integrate into a cohesive, organic effort to bring to the attention of City Council that this decision was poorly.
I know we were involved with it 5 years ago. And what I'm working on personally is reaching out to the Committee for Green Foothills, the Audubon Society, to try to get that area designated as open space in perpetuity. Keep your hands off of our birds and the migratory flocks and stuff. They're too important. We're losing too much green space. Enough building. Thank you.
This might be an odd thing, and I'm going to ask your indulgence for like maybe a minute longer. I'll be quick. So my name is Omar Passons. I just got to San Jose last month. I am a deputy city manager for the city of San Jose. So I'm probably wildly popular just now. I was not one of the ones that was rude, by the way. I was in the room, but I was sitting quietly because it was, one of my first days. Anyway, here's the thing. This is what I really did want to say. Two things. One, there's going to be actually a website going up later this week that has sort of all the information in one place. You don't have to go looking around. It has an email address where you can get signed up to all get together. Many of you, I'm sure, have gotten an email from me directly, not a form email, but me sitting there answering. I do believe that, like, as neighbors in communities, we have the ability, I say we because I am a neighbor in a community, to engage about what we want to do and be. And the point is, right, the council did two things. There's going to be a series of meetings. I'm almost done. There's going to be a series of meetings. And whoever said a thing about the driveway, I will come to backyard barbecues, front porches, parks over the next few weeks. Like, if you want to come together and have a conversation over and over again, please come find me. I'll go hang out after this. Here's the two things that happened at council, right? One of them was the one that I think most people sounds like most people are probably here for, which was move forward with haste because there is a crisis and do something at 4 sites, right? That was one of the things. The other thing that they also did, though, a week later, was to say, consider alternative sites in the community, because every community in San Jose is being looked at or worked on for these modular units. Not like it's a process, but I share that just to say, like, you can and should spend your time however you choose. And I think there's a meaningful opportunity, because you know your neighborhood better than everybody else, to actually just help us say, like, what's a site that's larger than an acre? What's a place that, that we have some criteria that we're going to share? And then we can just work together on a different location, right? Like, it's not a guarantee one way or the other. I want to be really transparent about that. I mean, like I said, I just started last month, but the point is, and this is where I'll stop. The point is just, the council gave both of those points, and we're going to try to be engaged and out here in the community to continue to talk to folks.
Okay, I'm going to call time, and we can loop back to you later in the evening if we have enough time. Who else would like to speak?
There's tons of space outside of our little community. Like, there's mountains. You can go anywhere up to 280 where there's a billion trees to hide these people. On the other side of the mountains, there's thousands and millions of acres to put homeless people where they won't bother anybody. Like, I know people who've talked about down in the Mojave Desert, there's all kinds of crackheads with mountains of trash. They should be somewhere where they're not going to bother women and children because they're on alcohol, they're on drugs, and they can't help themselves. They are ex-military that got hooked on drugs due to injury recovery. These people need help. They need to be put in a place where they won't bother people and where they have an opportunity to receive treatment and care and attention so they can overcome their issues. Anybody else?
Hi, so I've lived here, our entire life. We met here in middle school, and this is our neighborhood. And probably a lot of you, this is your neighborhood, and it's not the neighborhood that we remember, and that's whatever. It's not the world whatever. What I wanted to say is I really liked what he said, and I'm just going to speak from my heart. Government says whatever, but money talks and bullshit walks, right? That's how I feel. So what I wanted to say, though, is that it's not the intent for me. I live right here. My house, our house, shares a fence with this creek. We have 3 daughters, right? So I see. We know our friendly neighborhood person who is down on their luck. We also see the people who have trash cans and they're disturbed. It's not intent. I think it's execution. And the one thing I wanted to say is, as a San Jose resident, lifelong, right, and someone who's been in this community, we have already made so many concessions as kind-hearted people. We have lost the ability to ride our bikes through the creeks. Where you're talking about, I coach softball. My daughter plays softball. We come here every other week to practice, and we are orbited by people who need help. And I'll just call them that, people who need help, right? It's nerve-wracking and it's scary for little children, but they're with me. And so they're cool with me. Like, there's not going to be a problem. And they feel that. But the last thing I'll say is that we don't have a lot of places we could ride our bikes. And this community was designed for all the bike trails to connect, right? And our little bike trail connects to that Noble spot. And then it goes up to Alum Rock, right? And so my kids are aging out. They're getting tired of riding their bikes. But I feel for the other people who are going to lose that opportunity, because people absolutely will not go there, just like we can't go to Guadalupe Parkway and all those other spots.
I'm going to bring up the elephant in the room, which is the criminal activity, the trash, the mind-blowing amount of unsupervised children running loose in the park, at the playground, in the library, every single day. And to put this tiny home community which I don't have a problem with it being in our zip code, in our community. Put it Penitencia and Capitol next to the light rail, a block from the grocery store and the pharmacy. Put it over by the high school where the kids are more mature and, you know, better able to deal. Hold on one second. We're talking about 20 yards from an elementary school in one direction, 40 yards from another elementary school, less than 1,000 feet from a middle school. All of these kids, not all of them, but believe me, dozens of them every single day use the library, the playground, and the park as childcare. Their parents leave them unattended for hours and hours every day. I can't tell you how many fights I've broken up, how many used condoms I clean up, drug paraphernalia every day. To add this type of an environment to an already potentially volatile situation with young children is not in the kids' best interest.
I was just gonna say, this is really nice for us to express ourselves and it makes us feel good, but it's not gonna do anything. We're all in agreement about what the problem is. So I imagine, well, I'm looking to you for help. I imagine we raise money, hire a lawyer, file an injunction, that kind of stuff. I mean, we've vented enough. Can we talk about the next steps? And I'm addressing it to you.
You make a quality point. And there are things that we need to look into. What might be the basis for legal action of an injunction having to do with process? Because this was poorly done from where I said, very poorly done to spring this without prior community involvement, outreach, nothing. There are questions that I have with regard to easements on that property with specific interest to people like Richard Santos of the San Clara Valley Water District, because they need access to the perk ponds. They need access to the, and do they have an easement? That would be an issue. So we can do things at a political level and make the council member aware and others on council aware of our frustrations. And we can do those kinds of injunctions, look into them, and that will be our action item.
Yes, thank you for you coming here. I just want to say we do have heart for the homeless people, and we would like to help them. But build a home shelter across the street. Yeah, okay. It's the key point I want to bring up that help a sex offender. You know, I'm not sure California law or the federal law, I'm not really familiar with, but I want to say, if a sex offender or child sex offender come here without knowing, and the children in the elementary school and the middle school will get big trouble because they cannot handle this situation. This is a key point.
While the microphone transits the room, I'll just share this with you. I want you to understand, it appears that the city wants to cherry pick the most likely people to be quickly transitioned from homelessness back into employment. And among the criteria they use is no convictions for theft, for drug manufacturing, child, those guys, they no convictions. That's different from an arrest. But they're trying to cherry pick and I'm just telling you what they're trying to do. Whether it works or not, it's a different matter. But
well, actually, I was just going to speak to the comment about sex offenders. Yeah, so there's going to be no registered sex offenders, but you already spoke to that. You did, right? You had spoken to that. So no registered sex offenders, no drug manufacturer, and no meth manufacturing, and then
no convictions.
Well, no convictions, but I just wanted to speak to that, but you had already answered it. But yeah, of course, no convictions is with all of our neighbors as well. But I really like your idea up front here, lady in the green shirt. I agree totally with you. But yeah, I just wanted to speak to that.
This, I'll come back to you.
The agreement was comments directed this way. Okay, please, thank you.
This works. I come from a tech background. When I have problems, my typical go-to helper is Google. I search for rate San Jose as the largest city in California and US. It says San Jose is the third largest city in California, the 10th largest city in the US. And we do not have enough space to accommodate such a project from the city council. This is the only place that can accommodate this. Second, as in that's to the point, but the gentleman in the check shirt already sort of highlighted what I wanted to say. We all know the problem, we all know the opinion, but what is the next step? What is the solution that we are chasing? On the point of sex offenders also, yes, the city will pick and choose who goes inside the settlement. But if you look at these similar settlements around San Jose, there are a lot of people who transition into that area just because there is a marked area for tiny homes or for transitional homes. All the people will not get into it officially, but they will be around. And there's no check on who's around.
Good evening. My name is Frank Paragary. I'm a PE teacher right over here at Piedmont Middle School. I will say our students do run the mile in this area. We have had issues with our children encountering homeless individuals whilst running the mile. Makes me uncomfortable as a teacher, as an adult. I'm responsible for them. I'm responsible for your children. Secondly, I not only live, but I work in this area. So my son attends Noble Elementary School. Mr. Cohen, I know that your children also attended Noble Elementary School, so you can't be comfortable with this. Dr. Fuentes, I think I saw you. I know you can't be in favor of this either. My family also uses the percolation ponds to go on walks in the evening, take our dog out. Our dog was there this evening. So just from all these angles, at the risk of beating a dead horse, you know, homelessness and children, they just do not mix. Thank you.
I have some questions. I feel like we're all kind of on the same page, but I do have some questions. First is, if you are the people that are going into the program for the tiny homes, live in this area, or they can live anywhere. So we'll have people coming from all over the place that weren't here before that are gonna live there. And then we still have the same homeless people that were already here, so double homeless in this area. Number two, the people that are there that don't get homed, where do they go? Do they just hang out in the area if they get displaced from the tiny home when the time is up? And number three, who's gonna keep it nice and neat and organized? I went by 3 other locations. There was garbage everywhere by the other locations. There was RVs with garbage on the other side of the street of those other locations. How is that not gonna happen here? It's happening in Seattle, and people in LA are complaining that there's no place for people to go. They go to the tiny homes and then have no place after that. So even if this does, God forbid, happen, how do we make sure it doesn't turn into a complete disaster?
Thank you. I don't know with a capital K the answer to her questions. However, what I will say, I believe that she is right, that they will be cherry picking homeless people from throughout the city and locating them in the tiny homes of those who would be most likely. So it's not going to reduce the homeless load that we have for those who are chronic. But as to who cleans it up, that's the responsibility of the city. But so
I want to share my personal experience. Recently, I visited Anchorage. I've never been to Alaska, and I was really excited to visit Anchorage. When I was in downtown Anchorage, I saw people on drug and homeless people in downtown Anchorage. And the first impression was really bad. The reason I wanted to say this is because I know this is not just a problem. It's a universal problem, it seems. We need to help these people, but Berryessa, to me, I bought a house, so I'm calling it my home. This is my Berryessa, my home. So if I have friends or if people come to Berryessa, and if they see people, homeless people on the street, I think it's just super embarrassing.
Hi, Omar. I just want to thank you for coming today, but I have a very honest comment for what you have said. I just heard you want us to pointing to another place where the homeless can be better placed. I don't think that's our job to do so, because it's city members' job to pick up a reasonable site. We work every day in the daytime, just pay the tax and then to pay the salary for the city council members. It's not for them to picking up that site and waste everybody's time. We all came here after dinner. This is the time we can enjoy with the family. Why we came here? Because city members didn't do a good job. They did a terrible job. So don't ask us to waste our time painting to other people's neighborhood. You guys need to go ahead and point out the correct location for the homeless people. Okay, and the second thing I want to mention, I'm talking this way, but what I want to mention is I heard from many very reliable resources that this information was already known by our D4 district last September. Why we have never heard of this before the vote? What happened here? And don't you know there's a Brown Act in California, and if you violate it, you actually we can hire a lawyer or attorney to sue you, okay? So there's law to help us on this, so be careful.
My name is Tan Chu. I'm actually not a very political person. I've never attended one of these meetings before. I did go down to City Hall last week because this is an important issue for me. What struck me the most is that the council members and the mayor that have been sworn in to take into consideration our wishes, but their action don't reflect that at all. They make the decision knowing this is not a good decision. They got our votes by promising us they'll take care of our need. They promise us safety. They promise us a voice in government, but their actions decidedly did not show that at all. And for you to come here and tell us that we only have 90 days to change your direction when you know it's wrong, I think they don't deserve the jobs. And we need to vote them out.
Hi, everyone. Last week, I, like Tan, was also in the city council. And one thing that struck me was there was this meeting where the council members were here listening to the budgetary session for the housing department. And it seemed to me that that is the easiest job in the world. They gave a presentation with no metrics as what has been achieved. They got $250 million or more as a budget in 10-minute presentation, which was, I work in the industry, I would be fired. If I was giving the presentation, I would be fired. The mayor asked a question, and Councilmember Meehan asked questions, and some of them asked questions about what are the metrics of measurement of success of these programs. The mayor asked a question, and the deputy director, I guess, her reply was, how did we perform? On what metrics and how did we perform in last year? Her response was, oh, is there a question? Well, maybe good. That was the answer, right? After $250 million of budget, the answer is, oh, probably good, right? And they got to $50 million, just like that. You know, I mean, that's the easiest job in the world, in my opinion. Second point, you want us to have faith in the city that they will keep it clean, they will do all the necessary checks before they put people here. How long? First 6 months. Will it happen all? I mean, looking at the people who run these departments, I don't believe it happened forever, right? Budgets will run out. What will happen then, right? And looking at how they have treated this issue of going behind our backs and voting for it, now they want us to trust forever they will maintain this site with all the oversight and everything that they're promising. How do I trust them? They have broken our trust in the very first instance. I cannot trust them anymore.
Hi, first I'd like to say thank you for all the people who made so many efforts to inform us about today's project. I think the issue I think I'm concerned and confused is because this already happened the last time, but it's different last time. We can vent and express our rage before they voted, but now it's already been voted. And now you're saying, okay, we are engaging. We have the venting in the city council meeting. Now we can have the venting here. But what does it matter? What I mean is, so if it is already voted, what does it mean politically or legally? Can you educate us about what is the next step or what we can do for the next step? Because I heard from a resident, she said Councilman Cohen already told her that it's really difficult and it's almost impossible to change it. Is it the case? Can you educate us about this? I mean, we really are concerned about the result, not just the process, just the raising. Thank you.
Susan, if you could, who's next? I'll let you figure out, Susan. I'm going to share something with you to talk to his question. Yes, there's been a city council vote. Yes, it was 8-2. In 2017, they had already picked the Noble site, and they were confronted by basically what they're seeing here: widespread, universal opposition within the community. And they changed the criteria by which they were going to select sites and added some offsets from residential areas and from schools that caused the Noble site to be taken off the list. Now, whether or not that might be possible in the future for the city council and for staff to recognize that there are better opportunities elsewhere, I don't know. But I don't want to be disheartened. I don't want to be cynical and resigned. If we don't do what we're doing here, make our voices heard and take action, then we are going to be steamrolled.
My name's Oscar. Yeah, I think using the ponds, people won't want to use those ponds anymore. Parents won't want their kids walking home from school. Parents won't want their kids just playing on the playground there. Parents won't want their kids just hanging out at the library. I think it's an impactful thing putting that there for a lot of different people. District 4 is pretty big, and I don't know why an industrial site can't be chosen, like around First Street where there's a light rail. It's all industrial. I think there should be some criteria of certain distance away from schools and parks and open space, that there should be some limits there about how close it could be. I don't know why that is taken into account right now. Another frustration is, yeah, how this is being rushed. It's approved. So it's approved. So it's gonna happen. But where is it gonna happen? And we still are not getting any alternative sites from our council. Like, we haven't seen any list. I don't feel like they are trying to work with us. We are giving our concern, but okay, give us a list, and if a few people want to help list the pros and cons for the sites, like take that from the community. Like I haven't seen them trying to work with us, basically. So it's disappointing that way.
I will say this, that when the vote was taken 8-2, Council Member Cohen was able to get them to look at 2 other sites in this district. One is on near Montague and the other is on King. Wow, and I don't know the exact addresses. It's something we need to go look at very carefully. But the staff was asked to go look at them. There's no obligation on their behalf to do anything. They were told to continue full tilt boogie on moving forward. And I have a fear that they will embrace the power of and. Why can't we put one on every one of those 3 sites? But right now the focus is on Noble. And that is where you can see the level of opposition in the room.
I just wonder, is the time constraint? We have to rush past the tiny home budget. If you don't pass that, and then San Jose won't get the funding. So we have to rush past that. That's my question. Second is, I've been here 40 years. I served the teacher at the Piedmont Middle and the Noble, Toyo, and also coach Piedmont Hills. I coached that with Coach Keasley. I know many principals. So I saw the kids, they come back, make this area good. I love the Berryessa. I don't want the area changed. I like to keep as it is. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, we're running out of time this evening. Okay, I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to speak.
Hello, I'm not from this community, but I'm really care about the community. So I have some questions. I want to be educated. One is, if I'm a member of the council and I would like to think, do this tiny home helps if they do not want to live there? So why we do that? So why we have to spend money on some things might not useful? So that's my question 1. And if anyone want to educate me, please, and I would like to be educated. This is one question. The other question is this: they might have some issues, right? Because they are homeless, they have some difficulties, they need help. So can they live by themselves? I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I really want to be educated. So the other question is that how we help them. If we just give them something they cannot use, it doesn't help them at all, right? So we have to go to the root, how to help them. We really have to think about it. We don't just, because even to build some homes might spend some money, but compare with really help them, really accompany them in their difficulties. That's a small thing. So if I were a mayor, or I'm someone VIP, I would like to really help them. I don't know whether they really investigate what they really want, what they really need. If they're just a home to stay, I don't know. So I want to be educated if somebody have that answer. And sorry, and I have 2 other questions. So if I am the governor now, mayor or something, I would like to have these people near me, just like a teacher, right? Sorry. No. I'm a teacher. I used to be a teacher, and
I'm going to call time.
So yeah, I'm a teacher. I really want the students who have some issues. I would like them to sit near me because I really want to put my efforts into them. I do not want, yes, that's a common sense, I think. And the last question, sorry.
That's it. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I want to wrap this up, but I want Mr. Passon to get up here in a few minutes too. So is your question important? It's not a question, it's a statement.
Just want to make 3 comments. The first one is, in 2017, we voiced a vigorous opposition. I understand that your parameters have changed, but you don't fit a bunch of points to fit your curve. You get fired as a grad student if you ever try to do this. So you changed the criteria because you couldn't make progress, and that's not our problem, right? So the second one is things like the environmental report were never done. The results of that is not even clear as to why the site was chosen despite the vigorous opposition. And the third one, I just want to emphasize what somebody said here. In 2017, the people asked us the same question. Can you suggest sites apart from the Noble site? Honestly, we're almost in the middle of a recession, high inflation. We are paying 5-figure property taxes. It's not our job to do this. Please find alternate sites.
So this piggybacks directly off of your final statement, which was our property taxes. Many of us have absolutely noticed our property values going through the roof. And with that, our property taxes have gone through the roof. Ours, close to $16,000 a year. That's revenue that the city has been tucking away in its pocket. So when they push this through and our property values notice an absolute decline all of a sudden, are they going to realize their mistake too late? Because they're not going to be able to get that much money out of us because our properties have gone down.
Hi, good evening. I want to thank you for all the input. I was here tonight to primarily listen to what everybody was saying, and I just want to give a little bit of background, and then what I was supposed to do was introduce Omar, but he took the microphone before. I'll just say, my commitment is to find the most appropriate site in District 4, and I'm convinced that the Noble site is not it. I'm working with city staff. Just to clarify one thing about the timing, on June 9th, when we got a list of several options in District 4, we told staff, absolutely not Noble, I won't support it. That was just June 9th. On June 16th, which was 5 days before the council meeting, we got the recommendation from staff that said Noble is the only option. And that's when I raced into action. And I will own the fact that between those 5 days, there was not a message sent out. We weren't sure how to mobilize, because my opinion was that if I wrote the appropriate response, that council would agree with my eminently, I think, good recommendation to have the community meetings before taking the vote. I was very surprised that the council did not go along with that. And that's what occurred on June 21st. So that's the process that happened. But what I did do as part of that motion that passed was make sure that additional sites were named in the action, and that we directed, it's a little bit more than a suggestion, we directed the city manager and her staff to evaluate these other sites and be very serious about looking at them as alternatives. Since that time, I have also identified 2 additional sites, and it's true, it's not anybody's job here to find those sites, but if you know of any, we'd like suggestions. But we are continuing on our staff to look around and find sites, and there's now 4 options that we've provided, and we're working with Omar. Omar is brand new to the city, and I have great confidence that Omar is going to do a great job. He worked on this issue in San Diego County. He's now with us. He was just hired to be the deputy city manager in charge of homeless issues, and he's going to work well, I think, with the community. So I'll just leave it at that for now, and do the job of introducing Omar. He joined us last month. He's going to work to have the outreach with the community going forward, and he wants to ask you for some input. Oh, I wanted to mention one other thing. To let the council know what your thoughts are, I want to let you know that on August 3rd, Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock, the Rules Committee of the City Council will be hearing a specific discussion based on a memo written by the mayor and 2 other council members that lays out a more detailed process for community outreach and for looking for alternative sites in District 4. So that will be discussed at the Rules Committee meeting 2 o'clock on August 3rd. And that's the opportunity for all of you to call in and the city council to hear your voice. So I recommend, it should be, might be a hybrid meeting, but it will definitely be virtual. Call in on Zoom. And when that issue comes up, you can make your comment there. That's a great opportunity to do that. Now I'm going to let Omar talk about the process.
Yes.
The meetings, I'm not 100% sure because we've been doing those meetings on Wednesdays virtually all the way up till now. We were told that in August we would go back in person, but the city is required to continue to offer both a hybrid option. So even if we don't go back in person, given the latest variant, I'm not sure we are going to go back in person. That meeting is likely to still be on Zoom only. So even the council members at that meeting, everyone will be on Zoom. So we will make sure, if you're not already signed up on the neighborhood lists that we have in our office that we're sending out information on, I think there's a sheet over there for people to sign their name. We'll make sure you get information about that meeting on August 3rd. Yeah. I mean, July is a month off. We don't have meetings in July. It's the annual break, but we will meet every Tuesday starting August 9th again. And anybody's allowed to show up. The only reason I'm recommending August 3rd is that the item is specifically on the agenda. If you show up at a meeting where it's not on the agenda, you have to wait till the end of the meeting and speak, and won't be addressed by the council. So that's why I feel it's more productive to speak on August 3rd. Yes.
So one of the reasons that I wanted to come is just for those that want to engage between now and August 3rd. We are going to do a bunch of both in-person and virtual sessions. It will answer some of the questions that folks had in here today. It will primarily, we're doing three things, right? One is make sure to just inform, basically understand the basic picture, then spend most of the time engaging, just listening to what folks have to say. And then to notify, what are the next steps? What are the next opportunities? There are two things I want to be clear about for folks. So for those, I would really like to know times of day, days of week that work for folks. I'm going to hang out outside for a while. So if you want to come up and say, hey, look, do it in the evening after my kids have had dinner, I can engage. Or it would be better during the day. It would be better on the weekend. We'll do whatever. And it doesn't have to be, it will be the same content. So you don't have to go to every single meeting. The whole point is to give people the chance where it's like, okay, my buddies are going to this one. They have it. I'll be at the next one. So if you have a chance after and you want to share time of day, day of week, please do let me know. The other thing I want to say is this, right? As somebody who was on the president of my own town council for 10 years back home, like it isn't the neighborhood's job to choose anything. But many people probably in this room, and certainly some of your neighbors who aren't here, actually want to say. So I think that the notion that we shouldn't ask people because it's not the job of the community, I just want to clarify. The reason to ask is because you all live in the neighborhood. You may just actually have a better option. Some of you might have landlord friends that are also in the community. The only way that we get the value of that information is to ask you. And I've been here a month, so that's what I'm saying. I'll be outside hanging out for a bit until I can, go back and get a little quick dinner later tonight. And I appreciate the time, and I understand, well, I'll put it this way. It's not my community. I just got here, so I can't say I understand your exact feeling. That's not right. But I can say that we want to engage and really hear from what you have to say and about alternative locations. So again, I'll hang out outside for a bit. And my name is Omar Passons, and we'll be making sure to reach out and post that website later this week.
And it's to make a presentation so they can answer a lot of the questions that we asked tonight. So that's the whole point of having those open discussions. They came tonight, they don't have the answers yet, but that's why, tell them what you think. Should we meet on a Saturday? Should we meet at night? Should we meet in the afternoon? Or all of the above? So make sure you let him know. Yes, sir, in the back. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Come to the front, please. Because it's on Zoom.
Yeah, so just a couple questions. Thanks again for organizing all this and hearing our concerns. I'm also a resident like most of us here. I have a couple questions. I think council member mentioned that there's a scramble now to look for alternate sites. But my question is, why haven't sites already been earmarked before? This is an ongoing issue. It is not something that started just now. Why is it now that we are all scrambling for this? We shouldn't have been in this situation. That is one question. And thanks to you, sir, for engaging the community. Why weren't we engaged when this vote was happening? 5 days is good enough time. I just got a notice in my email this afternoon about this meeting, and I'm here. So why? So, I mean, if history is going to be what the future is, then I have my doubts that something is going to happen. So my point is, can't this be put on hold till alternate sites are found and then progress made? I mean, I'm also just a concerned resident like all of us here, and these are my questions. I wish they can be answered.
This meeting was a BCAC meeting. I got a lot of emails and phone calls, and so did the community center, about why did David Cohen not contact me to come to this meeting? You know, it's his meeting. No, it wasn't his meeting. This was BCAC's meeting. And that's why we tried to notify all of our members for sure. And then it went out with next door, and as many people as we could, we contacted so that you could be here tonight. Okay, yes, sir. We need to move along, but go ahead. Oh, yeah. Raphael.
Go on until we get you the microphone, okay?
We had a good battle against that, which I'm glad that it was. But I'm going to go back to what we talked about on a Saturday with the chief of staff for David Cohen's office. And we finally got it out of her that it was actually back in September that they knew about this. And so they knew about this back in September, and now we're in June. There was no community outreach, so nobody had a clue what was happening. It sounds very familiar what happened in 2017. So David, you could say that you only heard about it back in June. That's fine. But what I'm saying though is, if you knew, you should have had community outreach and engagement and been transparent about what was happening, and that did not happen. Secondly, you did not list the other sites that have been listed. There's 4 sites you've mentioned, and what should be on your website to say these are the sites and these are the parameters of why we're going after this. Because right now, the mayor said we're actually going to keep forward as is. So if they're moving forward as is, and they're looking at alternative sites, guess what? The chances of that actually being changed at the last minute, there's slim to none that may not happen. And that's going to be unfortunate for this community. So I would love to know what 4 sites you've actually identified, and then what's going to be the next steps to the outreach to the community. And bless BCAC, but David, this is on you for your outreach out to the community. You own it, you owe it to us. Thank you.
Just a reminder, please direct the comments to the front of the room. As David stated, he's here to listen. And so he'll be collecting your inputs.
I'll be quick. So everybody know the meeting is getting ready to end, but my wife and I and a handful of neighbors have done a lot. We've done a lot of research, a lot of footwork. We've mailed things, we sent things. So if you want more information, we also will be out front and catch you up on this. Also, if you want to be part of what we have right now with an email going on, we're trying to get everybody together as groups to protest. Also stay and we'll give you that email and we can all get on that. So also, when we're saying about with the politics going on, to me, it was shameful with our city council. This vote of 8-2 came after the primaries, so no one could be held accountable. And now we're hearing about another vote to fully go through with this after November's election. So if they're going to do this, we need to have if they're going to vote again, this doggone vote needs to happen like in October so we can vote them out if they do this. They want to have all their votes after elections are over.
We're going to stop because we already, it's just about that time. Do you want to speak, Richard? Please don't be yelling out, though. I don't appreciate that. No wells. We've been here for almost an hour, so passionate. I know that's the word.
Thank you. First of all, we need a better communication system. This is terrible. It's not because I'm old. I can't hear very good at all. So first of all, Mr. Santos, your director of Santa Clara Valley Water District. I want to say this. I'll do it briefly. There's legal issues here. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Everything you say, I agree with. Now it comes to my office. We were not contacted. Our responsibility is the water recharge. The city of San Jose takes care of recreation. Since 1977, we have a Penitentiary Creek Park Master Plan agreement. All of a sudden, in my opinion, it's violated. So Ty Greaves called me. I read the paper. I knew what was going on. I immediately had 2 meetings today, had our legal staff give me a few notes, and I won't read it, take any more of your time. All I know is this. You can't put little potties on recharge. That's environmental violation. And we've been through this before, like example in Willow Glen, they try to build the unhoused, the homeless next to a project. I'm a veteran. I'm very sensitive to the homeless, but we have criminals, you have mental, and then you have people down and out. This ain't the spot for it. You read the papers, you have school shootings, I can go on and on. Why increase it? But for us, it's environmental. We have to get our equipment in. That's recreation. You folks all like it. I like it. So it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I'm going to work with David Cohen's office. I'll be representing your opinions. They're my opinions. And I'll do whatever I can to help out, but it's not going to be there. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. All right. Ron, do you want to speak to the posters outside? Yeah, I thought you, yeah. Wait, Ron. You gotta have this mic.
Yeah, these banners have been up on the wall for 2.5 years. They're supposed to be up there for 3 months because of COVID. But my stepdaughter is going to be having her pictures up there tomorrow for 3 months. So anybody that would in the community that is an artist or would think that they're an artist, you can contact me after the meeting and I can take your name, and 3 months from now, you can be up on the wall up there also.
And before we leave, I want to remind you that Mr. Passon will be outside or around here after I adjourn the meeting, but it's very important to tell him when's a good time for a community meeting so you can get information. We want information. I want to remind you that, oh, what happened to my flyer now? On Saturday, July 23rd, thank you, sir. Saturday, July 23rd, BCAC is sponsoring a community center night. And it's for fun, for families. It'll be here out in the patio area and maybe out on the grass. But we have a lot of things going on, and it starts in the evening, and it's from, where is it? 5 until 8 p.m. All right. Anything else for the good of the cause? Do I have anything else? No. Come more often. Don't just come once in a while to complain. Come the 23rd and have fun instead. All right. Thank you all for coming tonight. Good night.
How have you been? I know it's been a while since we've
Yeah.
come, but this was definitely on the top of
Oh,
our
how
agenda.
nice. Oh, good. I see you on Facebook
I
periodically.
know.
I'm not very good about responding because I never know if I'm doing the right thing or
Oh,
did I
don't
send
worry
shit.
about
But
it.
at least I keep track of you.
Okay, good.